Yes, people, welcome back to the Redmen TV. I am your host, Errol Smith, and I am about to take you through these player rankings. As always, you know the drill. We'll go through the starting 11 and a couple of the substitutes because Klopp was able to use all substitutes this evening, and we will rank them from boss to sound to I am messing. And spoiler alert, there are probably not going to be that many EMSs tonight because Liverpool won 6-1 against Sparta Prague at home at Anfield to navigate their way through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. If you've just watched the previous show and you're here now, you'll know the teams that I've just left in it and how does my memory serve me. It was Liverpool, Roma, Bayern Leverkusen, it was Marseille, it was a couple of other teams in the mix as well, AC Milan. There was 7 other teams as well as Liverpool, but that's the one to be asked about. My memory's shocking, I'll tell you that right now. But let's just dive straight into it because we can start here with Alisson Becker in disguise in Kelleher. Does concede tonight, which was probably the only dampener on the whole evening, if I'm being really honest with you. I think before I really checked any, post-match conference from Liverpool or the word from the camp, no injury alerts, nothing to be worried about as it stands at the time of obviously this going out. But I think that was probably the only drawback to this evening, the fact that we weren't able to actually keep the clean sheet and Kelleher does concede. It probably comes at a time when Liverpool are being a little bit complacent as well. We go 3-0 up very early into the game. Not a great deal of action for Kelleher to do. A little bit of distribution, a little bit of admin, housework really, life admin in terms of just clearing things up from the box, good catches and saves. There was nothing really that tested him. The goal, however, the player gets played through, goes right through the lines, through midfield, through into the defence. It's Endo ends up back there. I don't really know where Jarell Quansah and Joe Gomez end up, but it is Endo there 1v1, and the man just manages to just out-muscle Endo a little bit, keeps his balance, and just gets a slight little poke in it, which just does enough to trickle past Kelleher in goal. So for me, another good performance, but that is probably the only downside to it. I can see people in the chat already getting shouts in there. We've got Liam Jeffries saying, sound, did his job. I've got Scotty saying, boss. I've got Matt Gillespie saying, boss. I'll be honest, it wasn't a bad performance from Kelleher tonight. There wasn't enough really for me to give him any real reason to mark him down. So I'm quite happy to go early with my first boss of the night, and it is Kelleher in goal. Conor Bradley, ladies and gents, another good performance from the young man. Played a little bit inverted towards the second half as well. He was happy to come inside, picked up the ball in midfield, was able to distribute the ball. Didn't really need all of his pace to get back. He wasn't doing all of the up and down work that we've seen from him in the recent months. There was so much possession, so much control from this Liverpool side today. But again, this lad, such a young talent coming through, pretty much, in the first team squad on a regular basis now as well. Feels very at home, feels very comfortable in front of the Anfield faithful crowd. And again, I don't feel his performance really warranted anything less than a boss. Again, there's going to be a lot of bosses, I've got that feeling. And again, it's hard, you kind of get blinded by the scoreline with it being 6-1. It's very easy to just be like, Sam, he was all boss. When you're trying to be really critical about performances and individual performances, you have to try and look at it slightly different. But with someone like Bradley, I don't really think there was much he could have done for the goal that we conceded. And I don't really think he put a foot wrong throughout the game either. Again, very comfortable on the ball, very happy to be very progressive with the ball as well, and keeps things moving at a very good pace for us on that right-hand side. So again, for me, he is another one that can break into that boss category as long as everybody else is happy with it. Yeah. Sir Scotty again, boss. More chat. Doco15, boss. Yeah, they're all coming in. Bradley, Free Django, Upper Sound, boss. Yeah, I think I say it's not like any of them weren't everyone was boss because the scoreline's boss. But the performances, I don't think we didn't have to put in the same amount of effort and energy as we did when it comes to City the other day. Nobody left anything on the pitch. There was a couple of challenges and tackles today, not necessarily where players pulled out in a shithousey type of way, but they just didn't need to put the body at risk, and I respect that, because they knew that as long as he was professional and as long as he was competitive to the right levels and to the right extent, that would be enough. Joe Gomez. People were screaming for Joe Gomez to be moved up front after about 12 minutes because we was 3-0 up, and I get it. Like, everybody is desperate to see Joe Gomez get his first Liverpool goal. He goes off after 45 minutes. There was a few murmurs in the watch along chat that he may have took a slight knock. I'm not 100% sure if that's true yet. We'll wait to see that that's confirmed, but keep an ear and an eye out for that news and information. But I felt Joe Gomez was absolutely fine. I think if I really had to say anything, he would probably just be sound. And I'd say the same for his centre-back partnership there, really, in Errol, because he wasn't tested enough. And the area in which he was tested, for me personally, for both of those lads, was the goal, and that was the opportunity to just shut up shop and not allow Sparta to get any joy out of the game. To be fair, I think their away fans deserve the goal more than the actual 11 that they had on the pitch, so I respect it. But if we're gonna try and be as objective as possible, and if we're gonna try and look at individual performances, these two lads were absolutely fine. They were superb for the night's worth of work. But I'm happy to just put them in towards the high sounds if we can possibly do that without going crazy in the chat and everybody losing their marbles. Andy Robbo now. My man turned up as a centre-back. How did that feel, Robbo? I'm not sure you would have probably liked that too much, but he does end the evening there alongside Virgil van Dijk. But again, left-back as an outlet, as an option, always a willing runner, always aggressive in everything that he does. Everything he does is, he's done it with aggression. He does it with a real intent in his game. And when we had a couple of players, as I say, you're looking at 1, 2, 3 lads there in that back five with Robbo that are still very fledgling. They are still novices in world football. They've never completed apart from Kelleher really, they've not really completed the full season. They're still very new to all of this, and this is a very new experience. You want the leadership, you want the experience of Andy Robertson there alongside you to kind of guide you through some that could have been difficult moments, even though there wasn't many testing moments in the game. Robertson is a very cool and calm head to be playing alongside. So for that reason, that level of experience and nous and know-how in the game, for me, will always put you in good stead. And for me tonight, Robbo was boss. Okay. Oof. Moving into midfield, ladies and gents. Endo, this lad is fast becoming a cult hero around Anfield. And make no mistake about it, he's been absolutely brilliant since we signed him. What a piece of business that Jurgen and his backroom staff pulled off in the summer, because nobody, and I mean nobody around the office, nobody around L1 all the way to L40, whatever, knew who this guy was. We didn't have a jar of glue. Let's just call a spade a spade. He was a myth. For you, just, one of those cheat codes or one of those fake players that FIFA just throw at you, but no, he's the real deal. And when I say he's a proper DM, my man is a proper DM. A lot of people at first thought he might be a stopgap option. I think if you ask Liverpool fans now, would you go and dip into the market, considering how horrific the midfield market was in the summer, and probably the inflation added on this summer as well would you go and dip into the coffers for another DM, or would you keep hold of him for at least one more season to see what he's capable of? I think a lot of people would say we'd keep hold of Endo. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And Endo right now is Mr. Fix-It Felix. Big up to Wreck-It Ralph, if you know, you know. And I thought he was brilliant tonight again. Does everything with so much calm. There's a lot of class in his play as well, and I think he sets us on our way. Maybe I think it might be the third goal in the way that he wins the ball back in midfield. It comes out to him and he just plays it forward, and Liverpool are on the way again. And I really do rate everything that he's put into this team so far this season for us. And I think we're not seeing. We've seen a lot from him, but I still don't think we've seen the best from him. At the moment, he is a really serious DM in top form. And again, another game where we didn't really necessarily need a bona fide DM in there. Someone that was able to just keep things ticking over and screen that defensive line was an absolute must. And again, he's massive for the weekend fact that we was able to get in 45, whatever it was, minutes under his belt again this evening, just to keep that rhythm in his legs, just to keep him ticking over, was absolutely crucial. Let's see what some of the chat have said for Endo. HJ Elliott says, boss. We've got King Mo saying boss as well. And where else have we got people saying? Johnny says, get your gum shield out. Sir Scotty says, boss every game. Laze G says, Moneyball boss. And he is. Endo is a boss. We love to see it from Wataru Endo there, ladies and gents. And let me just clear some of these chats up. Right, here we go. Szoboszlai, another midfielder that probably needed the minutes more than some of the others tonight. I think he needed to find that little bit of rhythm. I think he was... No, I didn't think he struggled in any way. Again, I'm not sure. I think the link that Stiad up in the second half after he scored gave the goal to him. So I'm saying, and then it was an on-target shot. But again, I think he's just trying to find that rhythm again. For me, Szoboszlai, games like this will have massively helped because obviously it was a good opportunity to get a run out for him. But again, it is just going to take maybe a little bit of time for him to get back up to full speed, probably trying to get him back to that pre-Christmas form. I think it's probably fair to say at the moment it's probably dipped a little bit since, and we've not seen the best of him, but what a player that he really is. And I think a lot of people in the chat there saying Sob was sound. I think that's Reece. When he gets his fitness back, he'll be boss like he was every game. Yeah, John says sound plus. Sir Scotty again, thank you very much. Very active in the chat tonight, Scotty, my man. Solid performance overall, says King Mo. Yeah, I think everyone was happy. But again, it's another game where you didn't need... It wasn't like when early Dominik Szoboszlai where he looked like the type of player that would grab any game by the scruff of the neck and we're not losing if he's on it. I think it's slightly different. I think this team there's been an evolution of this team even within this season to where everybody to a man is very much accountable for how Liverpool results pan out. And I think he's now starting to try and find his rhythm and find his way back into that system and where he fits within it all. So for me, it was very much a sound performance. Again, I like the fact that it was sound and comfortable for him. There wasn't many misplaced passes. He seemed to be good on the ball, his use of the ball, his assist for Nunez. I think even that assist alone, I'm actually half tempted to just throw him in boss, because that sets the tone. Let make no mistake about it, Liverpool didn't need to come out the traps flying today. But the fact that we did, and the fact that we did it in such a commanding manner, is largely down to the assist and the guile that he provides. Because he could have just fizzed that in across the box, aiming for an area as opposed to a player, but he picks out the man absolutely perfectly. So for me, that is the signs of someone who is playing boss. So, Dom, lad, you're back where you belong, kid. We've got you. Clark, I'm sorry, mate. I didn't even get to see your goal. TNT done me and Steve dirty differently. But when we did see the replay of it, Salah's allowed to the danger. You're allowed to the danger. Playing a little bit more of an advanced position as well as a second 8 in there, and you was able to get in the mix. But you made no mistake about it. You get your first goal for Liverpool, a big occasion to do it in a Europa League setting under the lights at Anfield night in Europe. There are not many better times to go out of your way and score, your first goal for the football club. Brilliant. And I think we spoke early in the, I want to say it was in the build-up, when we mentioned obviously Curtis Jones coming back and Gravenberch coming back, and maybe there is a prospect or a world where Clark probably has a little bit of a watching brief going towards the back end of the season now. That will do his confidence the world of good. Make no mistake about it. That will definitely do his confidence the world of good. He's literally followed out the manager's instructions to a T. He looks so calm and comfortable on the ball as well. The way he moves the ball, his touches. He's very technical as a player as well. Again, Liverpool had so much of the ball tonight, and keeping it ticking over in that midfield engine room was a large part of that. We absolutely dominated that midfield battle. I felt sorry for Sparta Prague for a lot of the game, if I'm being honest with you. But again, he didn't look like he was out of place in that midfield. Didn't look like he was a weak link in any way, shape or form. And yet, like Freedom Journey says there, buzzing that he scored. Did I bring that up? Did I not bring that up? I didn't bring that up. Let me try and bring that up for you there, Freedom Journey. Let's get that in the chat. Thank you very much. Free Django says, a legit question here. Is current Endo better than Fabinho, especially in his last 2 seasons? In my opinion, yes. Let us know downstairs in the chat. Is current form Endo better than the last 2 seasons of Fabinho? It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. King Mo comes into the chat and says, Errol, Clark is going places. I have been impressed. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, bright future there. Anyone else? Sir Scotty, again, thank you very much for keeping us all up to date with your thoughts on this one. And Clark was boss. He was in the high boss. Yeah, gets a goal for Liverpool on a European evening. Night under the lights there for the young lad. Did very well. Created a few chances. Gets amongst the goals. You can't ask for much more than that. If we move over to the front three, man like Salah, 7 consecutive seasons, 20 goals or more in all competitions, record breaker, phenom, talisman, King Mohamed Salah. Like, he doesn't even look razor sharp right now, ladies and gentlemen. He looks like he is just finding his feet again and trying to find that level. But when you're as good as Salah, and when you have as much quality, and when you give him so much time on the ball and you make it as easy as Sparta Prague did at times today, he is always going to find the back of the net. He is always going to rip you a new one. And he's just incredible. The consistency and the longevity in which he's been able to stay at the peak, you know, the top of the mountain. When people get to the top of the mountain, most people want to come right back down ASAP because they've got there. He's ascended and just decided to just perch, just chill. He likes the bird eye view. He is literally like the birds on the liver buildings. He will be there forever, and he may hold records as such as the one that he has got now for as long as I live. And that's a crazy prospect considering I'm just touching my 30s, honest. Mohamed Salah again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think he had to do too much tonight. I think in the second half, he was just chilling. He was watching the game. He could have been in the stands. But let's see. Regina Frank says, Salah, boss. Reece Williams says, boss but not man of the match. Who else? Yeah, and I think that's a very good shout, to be fair with you. The King Mo says we need a level above Errol just from Mo. He's in a bracket of his own. He really has taken his game, as well as what we expect from wide forwards games, to completely new levels. And I think it's skewed my expectations, because I look at other players and I don't really want to go on a big diversion, but players like Luis Diaz and necessarily his output from the other side, I'm probably more critical because of what the likes of him and Mane have been able to do for us over the years, and the numbers, the games, the big goals. We expect so much now from wide forwards that we forget that it's a rarity that they actually do perform at this level for so long. So we have to enjoy it. We have to be grateful for what we've got. And for me, there's no place like home for the boss man that is Salah. Right, Nunez, this guy, you know, dog, honestly, Darwin Nunez, we love you. We really do. You are absolutely blockbuster. There's a moment in the first half where he runs, he turns into Endo, ends up being the 6, kicks a ball out to play for a throw into them, and he's giving it large to the crowd with 3-0 up. There's only 21 minutes played on the clock, and this is how my man's acting. He is just a character. You can't take that away from him. Then he goes on to miss a big sitter about 15 minutes later from about 4 yards out. But he's already scored. Scores a brilliant goal. It's a proper striker's finish as well. Darwin was brilliant. Only gets the 45. Only needs to do the 45. When you're a killer like that and you can do your business in 45 minutes, why else? Why make him play anymore? He had done his job, and for me, Darwin is still boss. really is. Man like Cody Gakpo, oh, okay, interesting. I need some participation in the chat for Gakpo now, ladies and gents, because he's starting to feel like not a divisive figure, but I don't think we're seeing the best from him right now. I think whether it's down to confidence, lack of game time, or maybe too much game time, just not in the right positions, not being able to play in his preferred position, asking a lot more of him. We've not managed to really get the best out of Cody Gakpo in recent weeks, ladies and gents, and I think that is probably fair analysis across the board. We all know that he's an incredible talent, but we would like to see more, not necessarily output, but more input in the game, getting involved more, hold up play, what we seen last year where he was able to drop deep but not too deep, get involved in the build-up, find other people, link them into the play the through balls. He was strong, he seemed athletic, he seemed to still have that little bit of pace. We just needed to come and spark back into life. And I remember saying earlier on in the evening, where the Man U game came from was last season, he was just slowly starting to bubble up and you could feel him slowly on the boil, and then that Man U game happened, come round, we absolutely wiped the floor with them and he bursts into life. He becomes undroppable for the back end of last season, and we go on to salvage what otherwise was a very poor season, but his influence in that was absolutely crucial. And again, I was hoping tonight, obviously lesser quality opposition, but the same intent. Go out there, get a few goals under your belt, feel all the better for doing it, and hopefully tonight's performance does etch him towards that. You could see the celebration after the first goal. It meant so much to him, and he has still been contributing and chipping in with goals, but maybe the games and the occasions haven't really given him that feeling. Hopefully tonight added a little bit extra to it. For me, Cody Gakpo is probably my man of the match, if I'm being honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to mark him down for the two misses that he had towards the second half, towards late in the second half. But I did think his all-round play, some of his hold-up play, especially in the way he was driving with the ball at times, was what we want to see from him, more of him. And again, I think, it comes down to confidence, it comes down to having that rhythm. But Cody Gakpo, for me, played a really good game. Michaela says, Gakpo was boss, absolutely buzzing. He scored, can tell how much it meant to him. Unlucky to not get his hat-trick, and that was the big one for me, really. Should have his hat-trick. Matt Gillespie says, Gakpo will find his mojo more after tonight's goals. Yeah, played great, but definitely not the man of the match. Okay, basically, Vader, let me know who was your man of the match then, if you're still in the chat, my guy. Let me know who your man of the match was, please. But Cody Gakpo is going to make his way home in the boss section. Got this section reserved for the bosses. You see that? And now that's 11, okay, 9 bosses, 2 sounds. And I don't think I'm being harsh on the centre-backs being sound either, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that is a harsh thing to have done. They was sound. They didn't have a great deal of defending to do. And the one time where they did need to defend, he was MIA, as far as I'm concerned. Substitute Toby Elliott, thought he was brilliant. Not and shy of boss. Again, he's another player that's come into his own this season. Every game, even when Jurgen Klopp's giving instructions, look, you don't need to give it your all. This kid's always going to give it his all. That's all he knows. That's all he wants to do. First and foremost, he's a Liverpool fan. So he's playing like a fan. Bossed it tonight. Came on. Really improved us in midfield. Even though we didn't necessarily need to improve that much in midfield, he did improve us. Willingness. That shot as well. Very unlucky to not have a goal if it wasn't for this man nicking it. I will say he nicked it because it felt like he nicked it, especially if you watch the watch along. Go back and tune into that period of the watch along, because me and Steve did have a good joke with that one. Tsimikas, I think Tsimikas was sound, to be honest with you. I'd struggle to say there was a moment in particular that stood out as to why I think he was anything more than sound. Just I'm placing him there. That's not an indication of like how low down sound he was. It's just an indication of the space that I actually don't have. So Tsimikas will be sound for me. McConnell, another good performance come in. I don't think he put a foot wrong, really, if I'm being honest with you. I am inclined to go with Boss. Again, I think a lot of these young lads need to get their flowers nice and early. I think we do need to really give them the credit where it's due. The fact that they've been able to come in week in, week out when they've been called upon. Now, we can even say in the biggest game of our season, they actually came in and made an impact, some of these young lads. So again, tonight, I think they definitely should get a lot of credit and a lot of praise. Man like Verge, When isn't he, boss? Let's be honest. Comes in, doesn't really have a lot to do. But I think there was one where there was a little bit of a breakaway, and it was almost like the Haaland one, but the forward just couldn't be asked. You could just see it in him. He was like, what's the point? We're getting absolutely smoked, like 11-1 or 2 on aggregate, and Virgil van Dijk's bearing down on me, and I've got nobody, got no numbers with me. And that, again, comes down to people laughed off it last year, the aura, the energy, the vibes, but that's what he's capable of doing. He's capable of making good, quality, world-class strikers doubt themselves and doubt their own ability, because if he's on your neck, your chances and your numbers all dwindle massively whenever he's in the groove. So for me, I will put Virg in his rightful place. The young lad, the Polish Messi, that's what I'm going to call him, because I'm not going to butcher his name on a live stream now. It is late, and I am terribly dyslexic when it comes to words and names. But yeah, he was sound. He's probably the only youngster that I can't say was boss. But again, he makes his debut, finally gets it under his belt. It was nice to see him come on. Good game by him by all accounts. And again, I think the future's bright for a lot of these young prospects, but the more they get used to playing in these occasions, the more they get used to playing in big games, the more they get used to playing in and amongst the first team and players from the first team, Alec, Gomez, Endo, Robertson, Salah's, Nunez's, Virg's, that will do them the world of good. They will all start to feel a lot more acclimatized. They will feel comfortable. They will feel like they are meant to be there, and it's not kind of just, they've won a prize in a raffle, that type of situation. They're all there on merit, basically, is what I'm trying to say, ladies and gents. So for me, again, another one that I will comfortably say was sound, but for a young lad making his debut for Liverpool, I think every man and the dog would give for the debut to go down as sound as that, winning 6-1 against Sparta Prague, help take the team through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. As mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, there's plenty of content out from Redmen TV. We will still have content coming out from around the ground this evening. We will also have over on Redmen Plus the instant match reactions and the player ratings. It'll be interesting to see what the lads over in the other studio made of some of these performances as well. But these have been my player rankings. Quickly, in the chat, you've got 30 seconds. Spam the chat now with your man of the match. Let me know who it was. Jake Sutcliffe says Nunez because he's an absolute nutter. Anybody else? You've got a couple of seconds before I give it. Robert Ho says Cody. Danny saying Cody. Cody, man of the match, sterile for another W. Yes. Gakpo. Go on the Darwin. Salah for man of the match. Cody says Scotty. Any more for any more? Are they going to come through? Michaela says Gakpo. Gakpo, Salah. Matt says Salah for the record. Shane Rogers says Mo. Ooh, it's a close one. It seems like it's a bit of a head-to-head between Gakpo and Salah. 10 seconds. Spam it if we're thinking it's Gakpo, or spam it if you think it's Salah. Let me know in the chat now, because it's going to be going once, going twice, and the next one coming through, it was Cody Gakpo. The Dutchman does the business, and he is our man of the match. Let's go, Gakpo. Hopefully that does him the world of good, ladies and gents. Hopefully that gives him the confidence boost that he so desperately needs as we go into the FA Cup against Man U. It's a rivalry that'll never die, that guy. So we need everybody to be up for it, because it will be a tough game one way or another. But again, thank you very much for staying tuned to the Redmen TV. I've been your host, your boy Errol Smith. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter. That's the handle. Show us some love. I'll be back again soon. But for now, good night. God bless.
Thank you so very, very much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like. The season is now well underway. If you need extra Redmen content, be it podcast, videos, documentaries, interviews, and general shows, fill your boots on redmenplus.com today.